Hello everybody, today I would like to talk to you about our last discussion, and after that I would like to give you the instructions for the next discussion. So in our last discussion we talked about how we can explain a kindergartner that air is needed for sound to travel. This is a tough question to tackle because the kindergartner's understanding of sound is compared to us is limited, and because sound is not something that you can actually catch, and it's not concrete, so it's harder to explain really anything with sound. But there are a couple of ways to do it, but I want to mention at least one of them. So there was a good discussion, and some people mentioned about rubber band, like vibrating the rubber band and saying that you will hear a sound. So there are some other examples too, but rubber band is a good way to see the vibration. But the rubber band, just doing it in the air, vibrating it, doesn't really show a child the wave. The wave, we got to show the wave in a concrete manner, and we got to show that an example where we can substitute the air with something else, and then say, see, this acts like air. Then it becomes easier to understand, teach this concept. For instance, if we have a bucket of water, and then if we drop one drop of water on it, or we can use a vibrating tuning fork and then vibrate it and then put it in the water, we will see the waves. Like you can physically see it. It's concrete, you can just see it in front of you. You can see the waves and then see that the sound is a vibration, yes, and this vibration creates waves. Do you see the waves on the water? Yes. Now in order these waves to travel, water is needed, just like the air is needed for sound to travel. So making this type of comparison, creating a scenario where there's a concrete example, it makes it a lot easier to explain an abstract concept to a young child, especially like 5-6-year-old. So there are other ways to do it, and one person mentioned the Robert Boyle's alarm clock experiment, and you can also show the video how in that glass container, when the air is pumped out of that glass container, the ringing bell sound disappears. So that is a good way of showing it too. But also you can show this video and then have them do something like something concrete they can do, like some hands-on activity, just like the water experiment I mentioned. So that video will be actually very good, and there are other ways to do it, but it may not be appropriate for at the kindergarten level, like I mentioned. There are on the internet there are some complex scenarios, experimentations, but I don't want to go into those details. But one of them might be appropriate, like if you put a... I used to do it as a child actually, this not with the bell, but without the bell. I will just put a glass jar. First I will put a candle, lit a candle in between, in the middle of a container, big container, and then I will put a glass jar on top of that candle, and then before the air was gone, I will pour some water, and then the water will rise up, and then when the candle was the light was off, that means the air inside of the candle is gone. It will be really hard to take that glass container out, because there's no air. Now you have to really shake it very well, and then finally you can take it out, and then the water goes in. Otherwise, when the air is gone, the water doesn't really get into the glass container. So you can do something like that, I don't know if you can, maybe in a classroom, you may not be able to light a candle anymore, but something like this, if you can put a candle, light it, and then cover it, and you can pour some water around it to seal it, and then if you have a bell that you can put it in the middle of that glass container and seal it very well so there is no air coming in and out, and then if you shake the bucket a little bit, that bell, if it's supposed to be ringing, but if when the air is gone, because the candle light will finish up the air, then you shouldn't be able to hear any sound. So when there's no sound, when there's no air, there's no sound. But I will simply stick with, at the kindergarten level, I will simply stick with water dripping on a bucket of water, and then and then along with that alarm clock experiment should do this should be enough to provide the foundation for this understanding, and then you can have discussion, of course, always. It's good to have discussions because children will have questions. And so thank you for your discussion posts, and I really enjoyed reading them. For this week's discussion, I would like you to do the following. I will be posting three videos on Blackboard. So please watch those videos and read the textbook, especially the parts that are about symmetry, and answer the following questions in your initial post. So I want you to answer this. How would you explain the following to a third grader? So what symmetry and asymmetry mean? So one question is, how would you explain this to a third grader? The question is, what is symmetry and asymmetry? And second is the significance of symmetry and asymmetry in our lives. And the third one is the connection between transformation and symmetry. So I want you to answer these three questions in your initial post. One of them is, again, what is symmetry and what is asymmetry? The second one is the significance of symmetry and asymmetry in our lives. The third one is the connection between transformation and symmetry. So how would you answer these questions to a third grader? So that's the discussion post. And I always enjoy reading your comments, and I'm sure this one will be interesting as well. Please let me know if you have any questions. As I mentioned in some emails and perhaps in videos, that the amount that you invest in this course will be highly correlated with the amount of knowledge you will gather from this class. So if you barely invest some time in this class, then your learning won't be a lot. So please do read the chapters very carefully, read the assignments carefully, and pay attention to your classmates' questions and discussion posts so you can optimize your learning. Thank you very much and have a nice day.